Hello and welcome to week 33 of the FUT Weekly podcast. This is a content episode and it's a cozy one. We have returning to the content podcast after a week out, AirJapes. Hello, Mr. FUT Legend.
Hello, Ben. I'm happy to be back talking about content because there is a lot of it.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
There is. And we have with us a content legend, I would say, especially after last week's efforts. JoshXLS, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. We'll welcome in all of the non-Patreon subscribers who didn't listen to the episode of the Josh FUT Weekly podcast last week. But yes, no, it's good to be here. I've not played a single game of champs or even qualifying for Prem TOTS yet, and I'm really contemplating whether I want to or not.
Yeah, I hear the menu grind on Manor Lords is just too good right now.
Oh, it's brilliant. Setting out my burgage plots, getting some carrots made, and it's brilliant.
And we should actually just cast our minds back a bit because we will start off maybe quickly by asking Japes, how's Team of Season Live been? Who did you put in the evolution? That sort of thing. It'd be interesting to know.
Team of Season Live was okay. I packed actually a handful of the cards, which is, kind of fun. Some interesting ones. I've tried to use a lot of them because I feel like this is the time of year where, they're generally most of the cards are pretty solid. So you're kind of like, hey, why not use them? And so, I've tried, let's see, Bayer and Turland and Albert, a bunch of the cheaper ones. But the one card that I did decide to Evo that I am most excited about is 𝘬𝘯𝘰𝗍𝘬𝘠. The Manchester City center back, right back. She's nuts. Nuts. And I think what's kind of crazy about the card, the combo of having quick step and intercept plus along with jockey plus makes her maybe one of my favorite manual defenders that I've used all year. I'm like, I don't even care if she's only 5'7". And my logic with Evoing her was I think Man City women are good enough that she should get an upgrade, at least one, maybe two, or maybe get just the upgrade. I don't know if it's one or two. Josh will tell me. And I could probably slot her in at right back if I wanted to. Yeah. And she would be fine, especially with the press proven added to her.
She's actually already nailed on for both upgrades.
Well then, giddy up. So yeah, she's gonna be crazy. And I've actually had a couple people message and be like, that card's wild because she intercepts everything. And she's kind of everywhere. And Ben, you'll love it because she has 98 base reactions. She's going to be a 99 base reaction card. It's what I imagine a super juiced version of Icon 𝘵𝘂𝘁 probably should have been at some point in the cycle.
Yeah, so I actually weirdly used her for the first time because I got her as a red pick last night and was super impressed.
I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, I guess if users, you did a great explanation there of what she feels like to use, but it is very much like that kind of Kante vibe, right? Where the low center of gravity, very fast over the ground, really nice to kind of jockey around with and pick things off with. And the pinged pass plus
is so good.
Is really good for getting the ball out of defense. So, yeah.
The other card I want to shout out for my team that is a live team of the season as well, and oh my gosh, I hope she gets upgrades, is that 𝘵𝘬𝘬𝘦 Ramirez. So she replaced Drogba for me, and I've played 16 games with her across Rivals and Champs, and I've scored 42 goals. Wild card.
So you actually segued us nicely into picking last week's pound for pound winner. You weren't on, so I'll go through the options. We had the Team of the Season Live 𝘵𝘍𝑗𝑎, the Team of the Season Live Havertz, the Team of the Season Live Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and then I guess the one you're probably going to be going for here, the Team of the Season Live 𝘵𝘬𝘬𝘬 Ramirez.
Yeah, it's 𝘵𝘬𝘬. It's definitely 𝘵𝘬𝘬, and it's not even close. But throwing Havertz in there, who did that?
That was
Tom. Yeah. All right, Tom, man, we gotta have a chat. Look, I did Havertz, but in no way is he as impactful as his price tag is.
Yeah.
What's so funny about that Havertz card is I've tried him in a variety of different positions now, and I like him best, I think, as left mid And it's largely because he can just sort of like hang out there. I don't rely on that position for too much. And then he pops up in good spots, can make a good pass, and can score some nice goals. But paying his price tag, you kind of want him close to being like the guy that you build around. And he's definitely not a the guy type player.
Yeah, the medium's, I guess, not great as well. But
when I did him, I was like, if he gets upgrades, he's definitely big enough that I would be able to use him as a striker, like just out and out striker. And that position, medium, is kind of okay sometimes for me, depending on how I'm playing. In a 3-man midfield, I think he'd be fine. Like in a 4-3-2-1, I think he's fine. But when you're asking him to be one of the center two, he was definitely not it for me.
Yeah, as part of my experimenting last night, I actually used Ruben Loftus-Cheek as a false 9, and it was so good. I'm actually like gonna definitely experiment with that a bit more because it was kind of crazy. A bit of a waste of his intercept plus, but you do get some kind of jammy interceptions off people passing out from the back. So anyway, maybe more on that on the Supporter Gameplay pod. But for now, let's do a quick Team of the Season live summary actually before we do pound for pound for this week, because that will tie in quite nicely. Josh, are there any particular players that people should be looking out for getting upgrades? I guess talking of Havertz, he must be pretty close.
So Havertz is going to get both the +2. Now, the fact that he'll get those at the same time means it might not be as good of an upgrade as it could have been had he have got them separately. But, even if you just add 2 to all of those face card stats, you've got a really, really, really good looking player there. And obviously will still be an SBC, I think, until Friday. So, you can see, if you're considering doing him, you've got an awful lot of fodder, as I think quite a lot of people have right now. You can kind of bide your time and see what that upgrade ends up looking like. In terms of the other upgrades that are coming in, Real Madrid got their second win on Friday. So both Modric and Vázquez are both getting a +1. Are we presuming these upgrades come on Wednesday? Kind of, that seems to be when live cards tend to get updated unless they're Champions League cards, and then it's Friday. And they've got 4 wins from their 2 matches. So still got like a decent chance for him. 𝘬𝘁 Santos is another player that's definitely going to get an upgrade. She's got the 2 wins and is actually only 1 goal away from getting the second upgrade, and that is a crazy card. Jeremy Doku is going to get a +1 as well. Wilf Zaha for Galatasaray, he's got the 2 wins, and they've also scored 7 goals, so he's only 1 goal away from the +2 there. Yanni Laurel Bissek, as I started calling him, has got the 2 wins for Inter, and they've got 4 goals from their 2 games. And anybody that's used him knows how much of a beast he is. So that's going to be a scary card once he starts getting those upgrades in. PSV decided last week just to knock the 8 goals out of the park in the first game with an 8-0 bashing of 𝘭𝘪𝑚𝑣𝑒𝑛. So 𝘬𝑆E, the objective player, is getting a +1.
That was on the day he was released as well.
It was on the day he was released, yes, indeed. So they clearly all had him in their team. And there's only, I think 1 or 2 more upgrades from this weekend. You've got Adriana, the Orlando Pride SBC, that I'm sure everybody did. Otamendi is getting the upgrade for Benfica. They got their second win at the weekend. Morgan Weaver, the most packed TOTS live card ever. Portland Thorns got their second win at the weekend and have got 6 goals from their first 2 games. So looks like she'll be going up to a 91. And then the lowest rated card, David Costa Lens, lost last night to Marseille. So still no upgrade for him. But I think that's pretty much everybody. If I've missed somebody out, I'm sorry. But I think that's everyone who's going to get an upgrade. Again, we're expecting on Wednesday. And then next weekend, I think, is when we'll see an awful lot of the upgrades start dropping in.
Nice. And then I think it's Klaus and 𝘵 are really close, right, to both upgrades. So that's kind of interesting for people, maybe.
Yeah, I'm slightly nervous on Klaus because they've only got 1 game left and will need 2 goals and the win. But, if they get it, that'll be a really nice jump to a 93 rated right back. And he's really, really good, that Klaus.
Yeah, he is. Nice. Okay, great. And then let us move on to pound for pound for Premier League Team of the Season. Obviously, we also have the WSL and a mix of minor league Team of the Seasons as well. And actually, we should just mention there is this rarity called Team of the Season Plus, which we, I guess, made mention during this, which has improved chemistry. Essentially, to get them on full chem, you just need 1 player from the same nation or one player from the same club, or 3 players from the same league. That could also be 3 icons. So yeah, let's dive into some nominations, and we'll start with this listener suggestion, which is for Team of the Season Gabriel from Bracco. He says he has to be up there with one of the best centre-backs in the game at the time of writing. He's 58k with the 3 playstyles plus of bruiser, aerial, and slide tackler, as well as having every other defensive playstyle as base. Put a shadow on him and he's a 97 in-game centre-back and solid at stopping everyone coming towards him. But on the attack, he's also dangerous on corners and can score a goal for you as well. I'm not sure I'm completely sold on an 84 centre-back at this point in the cycle, but he does have some redeeming qualities, and having every defensive playstyle is pretty nice. But let's go to you, Japes. Who are you going to nominate for pound for pound?
Yeah, I haven't used any of the new ones, so I can't quite comment on that like super hard. I think that Team of the Season plus Banza, is that right? The French striker looks kind of interesting though. He's 6'2". He's got press proven and quick step and aerial plus to go with like high reactions, ball control, good like face stats, 99 jumping. I just think, and decent passing stats with high-low work rates. Like I packed him and I was like, ooh, this is kind of interesting. And so I think I will probably try to give him, he's 20K. I mean, it's pretty much free at this point. He's a plus card, so getting him in on chemistry, I think still challenging because I think he's from DR Congo, but like still pretty fun.
Yep. I mean, essentially, if you've got 3 icons in your team, it's full chem. So that does make it a bit easier. Let's come to you then, Josh. Who would you say is pound for pound?
Yeah, I just want to shout out that Simon Banza, because he had that, was it Squad Foundations card like 2 years ago? It was an awful lot of fun. So I'm going to cover off 2 bases here. A Premier League Team of the Season player that I understand why his price is low, but he plays brilliantly in game, and it's Ben White, the most solid right back that I've used. I wasn't overly happy last week with my 𝘬𝘯𝘬𝘦, and I didn't think he was doing as much as I wanted him to. He felt a bit sluggish. He felt like slow and was getting kind of dribbled past fairly easily. Might have been a user issue. But Ben White has been a revelation there, and the mix of whipped and long ball pass plus just allows you to play him either kind of reserved and ping those long balls over to the far side, or play him as a bit more attacking and get the whipped cross in. So the mix of those two just gives you so much like utility to do so many different things. So I really enjoyed him. I think his price is super low. But my nomination is a 96 rated player who I packed on Friday night, got very excited, had a look at the stats, got even more excited, and then I looked at the price and I went, what? And it's 𝘵𝘲𝘗 from City.
Bunny Shaw.
Or Bunny. Put the bunny down. And she is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. If you've not tried this card in game, you're looking at 190k for a 96 rated Team of the Season card with like really nice chemistry. And because she's a City player, very easy to link in. If you just stick a manager in for the WSL, you only need 2 icons. Everybody's got 2 icons in their team at the moment, it seems. And like with an engine, just an unbelievable card to use. With an engine, I just want to go to like dribbling first. So she's 5'11", which obviously for the women's players is fairly tall, is fairly average height for men's players, but she's got 96 agility, 98 balance, 98 dribbling, with 99 jumping, 99 strength, 99 heading accuracy, 99 positioning, 99 finishing, 96 short passing with 95 vision, 97 shot power, and 94 pace. Like, I don't understand why this card is so cheap. And something that my brother got back from traveling South America recently and hasn't played much of FC 24, quite obviously. And he started hitting chip shots with people, and they kept going in. I was like, what are you doing? Like, no one uses chips in this game. And her with chip shot plus, she scores an awful lot of chips when a goalkeeper stood on their line. Like, it's something I've started adding into finishing. Maybe it's to do with precision. It kind of executes differently, but she is very deadly with the chip shot. So it's not quite the dead playstyle I think people see it as. Aerial means she wins a lot in the air against Van Dijk. Like against the big headers of the ball, she is very, very competitive. And then the power shot plus with the 99 finishing 97 shot power is genuinely just a joke. Like she executes it incredibly quickly and has when the camera can't keep up with the pace of a shot. And then you look at her base playstyles, finesse shot, power header, technical dribbling, quick step, and 𝘃𝑗𝑗. Now, she does have base rapid, which isn't as bad as rapid plus. I've started avoiding rapid plus everywhere I can. I don't like it.
That's what I'm saying.
At all. But I feel like for her, it does help her just get that like bit of pace going when you have got her in behind. But yeah, an unbelievable card. 96 rated team of the season for under 200k. I just don't see how you can go wrong.
Yeah, she has incisive as well, doesn't she? Which is nice for, working chances. Technical on stronger players, I think it can be really effective. Yeah, it's so good. I actually really got caught out by her early on in champs because I hadn't really looked at her stats and wasn't quite expecting her to be as dominant in basically every area as she was against me for like 200k. I think I'd seen her price being like 200k and I was like, can't be that amazing. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of amazing players for quite cheap at the moment. I feel like this pound for pound could just go on and on and on. In fact, I think you were saying before the pod, Josh, that actually the whole WSL TOTS could be pound for pound, really.
I mean, I think so. It's a crazy team and the price of them makes no sense. And again, you just need to play with them for a little bit. That Sam Kerr for 500,000 coins is wild. I mean, absolutely wild. The price of them makes no sense. James is the only one that feels like she's priced correctly, and I don't know if that's just because she's incredibly rare. 𝘍𝘁𝑚's got a lovely selection of play styles in the middle. That 𝘵𝑚𝑃𝗀𝗏, if you play her at central midfield, does a great job. I packed Charles last night, the Chelsea left back, and tried her out for a few games. She was unbelievable. So yeah, there is so much value to be found there. And I think because the game has kind of moved a little bit heavily towards an aerial type playstyle, especially with that Drogba, people see the size of the women's players on the pitch and go, oh, this feels like I'm going to get dominated. I feel like these cards specifically don't. I've seen people talk about that Alex Greenwood card and they're playing her at left back and saying she's unbelievable. And I can totally believe it.
Yeah, you mentioned Niamh Charles. She was really good for me, actually. Just a really consistent player, really solid. I think for me, 𝘗est has to be the pound for pound just because he's a bit cheaper and he's a bit more unique. He's extremely good going forward. He has that team of the season plus chemistry, by the way, so it's easy to get in. And with whipped plus, 90 crossing, 99 agility, 95 balance, 90 reactions, 92 ball control, 99 dribbling, 88 composure, max pace. I put a sentinel on him. His defensive stats therefore become pretty good. I think really for me, he's maybe not a pound for pound because of the way I play. He didn't really suit it. But I think for some people who like to cross, who are interested in a player who's just bombing up and down and can dribble the ball into crossing positions, I think he's pretty perfect. There is one limitation with both Niamh Charles and 𝘗est, and also another player that people might have expected me to nominate for pound, which is St. Just. His team of the season looks phenomenal. It's got quick step plus. With an anchor, basically has max defensive stats, max pace, and really solid physicals, and he's good on the ball. But the issue I had with him and with these two is that neither of them have anticipate base or bruiser base. And I just find at the moment, if you don't have those in defense with the quality of attacker you're facing in one-on-one situations, they're just not winning the ball as cleanly as you'd want, even with maxed out defensive stats. I don't know if either of you have noticed that, but yeah, it's definitely become something that I need to have on defensive players.
I kind of agree with both of them. I would struggle with somebody who doesn't have both of them, but 𝘵𝘱 doesn't have anticipate, and I don't struggle to win the ball back with him.
Yeah, but he has bruiser, doesn't he?
He does have bruiser.
Yeah.
And he's huge.
An absolute unit.
Yeah, I think that's a classic example of why I'm saying either bruiser or anticipate, because if you have that bruiser and he's very physical anyway, that is really going to mean that he's cleanly enough winning the ball and is at least, pushing the player out of the way. I think one of the players where I was maybe questioning this was Alexandrini, who we talked about, Japes. But the way I was using her was more to pick up the interceptions, to shift around and stop passing lanes and pick off the ball rather than necessarily tackle. I don't know if that's
exactly
similar to you.
with her agility and reactions, the 𝗪𝗀𝗄+ just means she can like shuffle in front and take it very easily.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different type of defending, I would say. Like oftentimes I'm not really chasing backwards with her to win it back that way.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. The way that I was using her as well was to be kind of the first player to put pressure on my opponent and bring her forward. So you're not always looking to kind of go in and make a tackle. You're really looking to pick it off. So in that way, it kind of worked. And with the fullbacks, it's not such a big issue for a similar kind of reason. But I was noticing with St. Just particularly because he was trying to get in and go in for a seal out and those kind of things. It just never felt like I was consistent in terms of winning the ball off forwards, especially the more physical ones. So yeah, maybe something to note as you look at different options. We should take a break there, but we'll come back and talk more about the real variety of players we've had over the last week, and particularly SBCs, because I know there'll be a few people are considering. We'll be back after this. Hello, welcome back after the break. Right, other players people want to mention. Japes, you did 𝗵𝗀𝗄𝘓, and then they released another Arsenal midfielder this week in the shape of Odegaard. Is he just a sort of worse 𝗵𝗀𝗄𝘓? I don't know. No, I guess they are kind of different, but I assume you probably weren't considering Odegaard having done 𝗵𝗀𝗄𝘓.
I'll probably do Odegaard too.
Oh, you think you will?
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to pack Haaland from rewards, so, that would be nice. Have those links. No, I will probably complete Odegaard. I think he just looks like an interesting card to me in general. So I feel like that's a path that I want to go down. I also am just getting an increasing, like I really enjoy the WSL players like a lot. So he won't be super hard for me to link if I don't want him to be. And I can keep Havertz in, and I just keep trying to fill this right mid spot of like a box to box type player that can still do some defensive work but shows up in the attack. And like really Loftus-Cheek probably is like the right like frame for that card or for that spot, but I just haven't gotten around to like he's kind of challenging for me to get to link in at the moment. I'm sure they're going to release somebody that works well in that spot, but Odegaard is like the problem is every time I play against Odegaard, I have a hard time. So when I have a hard time against cards like that, I think to myself, like I would like to play with that card. I think he's got base good dribbling stats. I think you could play him pretty far forward in the attack. I think you get away with him as a midfielder-ish, especially in like a 3-man set. So I don't know. Maybe I won't complete him. He's a card I want to complete, but I don't know. We'll see how my rewards are.
Yeah, I know a lot of people enjoyed that Centurions version of Odegaard for much longer than you'd imagine. So yeah, I think he'll probably.
I think he's just got a really solid body type, and he seems to have really great control, which makes him very, very tricky to deal with. Yeah.
How do you feel about this, Josh, value-wise?
I actually think it's a really good value SBC. I think people. Again, I keep going back to that. You cannot take the coin value of an SBC and compare it to the coin value of a card on the market. They are two very, very different things, especially this year. But if you do that and compare him to Foden and Palmer, he matches up like really quite well in lots of different areas. I think he's got a really nice selection of playstyle pluses. Finesse shot is fully back. His 4-star weak foot fixes the biggest problem really with his Centurions card, which was the 2-star weak foot. Dead ball base, I think you need to have a dead ball player somewhere in your team, even if it's just the base. Pinged pass is really nice as a base playstyle as well. Technical dribbling too, his first touch. So when you look at the collection of his playstyles, I do think there's a big difference between him and Havertz in that you could play Havertz defensively. He's got the build for it. He's got better defensive stats. But actually, Odegaard in that midfield, 82 defending awareness, 81 interceptions is pretty solid. He's not going to consistently win the ball back. He's going to be one of those infuriating players where you feel like you got a good tackle in and don't necessarily come away with it. But I think it's a good price. I think for a card like this, with how easy it is to get super high rated fodder at the moment, I think it was a really good SBC, and I say that as someone who's just completed the 89 and 90 rated segments of it.
Yeah, there you go. I just think if you compare it to Havertz, it's like I probably would have rather just sunk my coins into Odegaard.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, let's see after the upgrade with Havertz though, because I think that may push him through a few thresholds. I think that will fix some of the deficiencies in his card.
Yeah, I mean, his passing is going to be crazy. His physical is going to be crazy. His defense is going to be improved. His dribbling is now going to be pretty crazy. His pace is wild. For me, it's like the work rates that I just don't, I don't know. Maybe he just needs to feel silkier. And this is coming from, I mean, I've tried finisher and I tried artist on him as well, because I was like, hey, let's boost these reactions and get that agility way up and see how spicy he feels. And even then he kind of was like, fine.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to play Guardian on him in the midfield. Maybe that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
And just sacrifice some of the passing or some of the shooting. Well, I guess I could put Gladiator on him. I don't know.
In terms of other SBC players that people may be considering, the Konate SBC looks pretty interesting. And compared to some other centre-backs we've had, yeah, I think so.
I mean, I like those reactions. I gotta say that.
He does look good, although the one word of warning that I don't know, maybe this is what you're thinking of, Japes, is he doesn't have any version of 𝘬𝘃𝗲.
Yeah,
he's a big guy. He's very heavy.
Built like a tank.
Yeah, and defensive awareness with the shadow, you're looking at 94, which, isn't 99, which does help with the 𝘬𝘃𝗲. So that's my one concern. He does have intercept. He does have bruiser, which is obviously great, and base anticipate is bruiser plus as well. He's got aerial plus. He's got block plus. Those are, great playstyle pluses. But yeah, I'm slightly concerned about how he's going to feel to jockey with. He's also got 3-star weak foot. So for 700k, I don't know, Josh. It's obviously not 700k. It's not the most high-rated squads to complete him, really, is it? But what are your thoughts on that?
So I packed his fantasy card and played 4 games with him and never used him again. I really just couldn't get along with him. He was too clunky. He's like really big, but whereas 𝗵𝘳𝗃 has that kind of like train quality to him, Konate feels more like a tugboat, where it's like he's got that power, but getting him into position takes a lot of effort. And I just don't think this card fixes a lot of those problems. Having said that, I've seen a lot of people use him this weekend, and if you're somebody who's still using like gold Van Dijk, this card is a massive upgrade on that. It's going to be a decent centre-back for a lot of people, but I'm not totally sure this would be where I'd be investing my coins. I think I'd sooner go and get Julian Alvarez or Martin Odegaard before I was investing in him. Yeah, I think centre-back's it's quite like a competitive position now in terms of we've had a lot of good SBC players. But
isn't that nice to say?
Oh yeah, I mean it's such an improvement from where we were even in this game like 3 months ago.
Van Dijk simulator.
Yeah. And also, I was going to add a big thing about the difference between 𝗵𝘳𝗃 and Konate is 𝗵𝘳𝗃 has 𝗬𝘃𝗲 plus, which for a big guy is just so helpful. And I think, that's why he does feel a lot more mobile for his size. He's a little bit lighter actually in terms of weight, even though he's a bit taller. So I think that is a good thing to point out. He might not necessarily be the player that people are expecting, that Konate, and jockeying is just so important, I think. Let's wrap up 2 other SBCs. There's also 2 showdowns, but I don't think they're necessarily worth commenting on. But 𝘭𝘃𝗃𝗏 and Julian Alvarez. 𝘭𝘃𝗃𝗏 for 100k, I think is pretty good. I mean, she has good playstyles as well. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. I don't think there's too much to, say that's bad about her. And I think she's going to be a very, very competent fullback. She's, a little short, obviously, doesn't have aerial or anything like that. But apart from that, looks fantastic. 93 defensive awareness as well is really good. Alvarez, Japes, you did an Alvarez at some point, did you?
I did this Alvarez too.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you get him to go? Or?
I played him at left mid. I couldn't quite. I'm going to try him again. But I couldn't quite get him to do what I wanted him to do before. But I really feel like maybe I should be playing him as the second striker. And right now I'm using George Best in that spot. And Best is the homie this year. He's just been so good for me that I have a hard time ever imagining a world without him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He whenever I need something, a little bit of magic, there he is, Jorginho. Yeah. And because of that, I'm like, I will definitely give Alvarez a run in that spot, but probably not during weekend league at the moment.
Yeah. We just quietly talk about the love story, the Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
of my like, oh, George Best is a trap. This was before I discovered, what is it, like first touch technical quick step plus as a combo.
Yeah.
And how like absolutely broken it, or not broken, but insanely strong it is. And since then, me and George have been the homies. That's all there really is to say about it. I was wrong initially, which I'm not too proud to say. And he's fantastic. And
it'll be interesting to see, at what point, if he ever does, he gets replaced, right?
I replace him, Ben. I replace him all the time. I replace him all the time.
I mean, long term, like that, you wouldn't go back to him.
Yeah, I'm like, I just keep being bored of using him, and then I'm like, nobody. here's why. With his body type combo, with technical and his size and stuff, and quick step, he has this. There's this one goal that I score a lot, where I sort of like round my opponent's midfielder when they're sort of out of position, and can just get like a cross body tap, like low shot. You know what I mean? And he does it better than anybody in the game. And he seems to pop up in positions where I get to do that with him more than anybody in the game. So it's just such a good goal scoring. And I try to replace him all the time because he misses passes that I'm like, George, we've talked about this. You should be making this pass. You can do it. And he doesn't do it. And so, we have chats. He has to come over and see me in the technical area, and but he just manages to stay out there, because in those tight games against top players, that's when he's at his absolute best.
Just imagining you like Pep after a game speaking to like Grealish or something. But
that's pretty spot on. I go and I like highlight his card in my menu, and I'm like, George, we had a couple bad passes that last game that really should have been easy goals. If you had a single passing play style, like give me tiki-taka, something, we would be scoring. And he's like, sorry about that.
Well, let's see whether any potential replacements for Best in the content we'll talk about after this break. Hello, supporters. If you'd like this podcast directly into your podcast providing apps feed, then there's a link in the description which will explain how to do that if you haven't worked it out already. It's very handy. And there's also a link for those of you who might want to join the Discord. If you're a gold or above supporter, you have access and you can jump in there, get involved with the conversation. There's a champs channel for commiserating about your champs progress. There's an evolutions channel for sharing evolutions. There's loads of stuff in there, loads of resources, fantastic community. And if you're not a gold tier supporter, of course, you could upgrade to gold tier and jump in there. I'll see you in there if you do. And let's get back into the podcast, but do check out those links if you'd like to. Hello, welcome back after the break. Let's get into part 3. Before we do, actually, anyone had any good pack luck so far? Because mine has been pretty dire. I don't think I've had a player over 100k, and that includes my rewards for 16 wins. That hasn't been much fun, but I'm hoping one of you can cheer me up, perhaps.
No.
No. Oh well, it's nice to be the odd one out. Of my opening 45 minutes was pretty wild to this promo. In that I packed Declan Rice, I think in the 5th pack that I opened.
Ooh, I'm interested in that card.
Yeah, he is brilliant. I'll maybe talk about him on the gameplay pod. Khadija Shaw, obviously Bunny Shaw got her. Watkins, as everybody did. I packed Saliba. So he's pretty solid. And then but a player that we've not mentioned from the mixed zone, which is Nani, who because I was away, I was in the Netherlands when I was opening the packs. I didn't realize he had a card. I certainly didn't realize he had a 94 rated card with some unbelievable stats. And his price has come down and down over the weekend, but I've not used him yet, but 5.5 with those stats, he's surely got to be unreal.
Is he a plusser?
He's not. And that might be the issue, but he is Portuguese, so not too difficult
Pretty
to link
easy.
in.
But I was noticing 89 strength as well. And he's got 98 agility, 95 balance, 96 dribbling, and 95 composure. Really good short passing, really good shooting.
Has 𝗏𝗏 ever had anything close to that in composure? Oh my gosh.
At times he was as good as this, but yeah, definitely not consistently, which makes sense because this is a moments, right? So any other off-league players from the off-league, it's harsh to call it off-league, but that's what it is, off-league team of the season squad. I mean, actually, yeah, probably should just mention 𝘵𝘬𝘬𝘦. As much as us United fans aren't big fans of him, I've always enjoyed using him in the game, and I know it's 1.6 million, but that's a really, really good team of the season, and he has the plus chemistry as well. Unique combination of play styles and stats that, yeah, you don't really tend to see. And that's the case for quite a few of the off-league players, I'd say, Josh. I don't know if there are any others you want to throw in.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out 𝘵𝘃𝗀𝘀𝘁 from Feyenoord. He's got the plus chemistry. I think he's Slovakian, so that's kind of why it makes the linking slightly difficult. But, you know, everyone's got that free 𝘃𝘃𝗬𝘦 live card, and there's a bunch of unbelievable evolutions from the 𝘬𝘃𝗲𝗬𝘦. That Timber from Feyenoord, the 83 rated inform, has had some of the craziest paths.
Well, and actually, 𝘃𝘃 will get 𝘬𝘃𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗏 because he's also
of
a
course.
plus.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's quite nice, yeah.
Yeah, pair him up with 𝘃𝘃. Stick Robinson on the left, so you got the United States loving. See, you're having a great time. But yeah, that 𝘵𝘃𝗀𝗀𝗏, you put a shadow on this card. It's 99 sprint speed, 96 acceleration, 99 stand tackle, 99 slide tackle, 98 interceptions with like high 90s for jumping and strength. He's got 89 short passing, and his dribbling is solid. Like, he's got low balance, but 93 reactions, 86 agility. Like, this is a really, really good card. I ran him in a few rivals games, and he was like a lot of fun. 6'2", so more than tall enough, and he's 55,000 coins. Like, just a wild centre back. If you're on a budget and you're looking to upgrade somebody at centre back, I mean, you know, you have him versus Konate. I'd be going with 𝘵𝘃𝗀𝗀𝘀 every day, I think.
Yeah, and actually at the other end of the spectrum, but also a defensive player, there is that Kante, who, with a combination of intercept plus, relentless plus, anticipate plus, I'm not sure there is a better 3 combo for a defensive midfielder. I mean, maybe you could swap out relentless plus for a passing play style, and that might be more helpful. But he's got quick step, he's got press proven, he's got first touch, long ball, he's got jockey, and his defensive stats are basically 99s without any boost. It is just a ridiculous player who I think will do a very Kante job in your midfield if you want him. And yeah, he's obviously very easy to link, being French as well. So there are some good options, and it seems like, Josh, we're going to continue to get these off-league team of the season squads throughout team of the season. So we'll have like a men's, women's, and an off-league.
Yeah, and I think it's brilliant because it just means there's so many cards in packs at any one time. And, you know, we got it's worth just talking about some of the objectives we got. The cup for team of the season, that currently there's an objective if you play with just Premier League players. And that's great. I just hope that they keep adding those objectives and not just do it for the main leagues. I really hope that there's some opening up into minor leagues, like a selection. If you could go like, I don't know, 𝘵𝘃𝘀𝘬𝘬𝘦 Pro League and the Portuguese League, and keep giving us those same rewards. Like, I'm all about it. I know that everyone is annoyed when they pack a team of the year and it's a striker and it's, you know, from Norway, and then it comes around and it's Hegerberg and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall like waltzes onto your screen. I know it's annoying, but I'd much sooner be packing a team of the season Dewsbury Hall than not doing it. And so, like, the fact that we've got these big mixed squads with some really good cards in there, and the fact that they've made the chemistry much easier to do, I think it's incredibly inclusionary to people that aren't just big, you know, fans of the big 5 leagues. You know, probably calling it Big 5 has annoyed them. But, you know, I'm really happy that we're doing it. 3 squads for team of the season every week is wild. It's a lot of players, but that's what this time of year should be. It should be about trying out new players and, you know, having some fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing I was wondering is it going to continue like this, do you think, where they all come in on Friday? It's quite nice because you can just, you know, not think about, oh, another team's going to come, maybe I'll wait. But it feels like it would make more sense, at least from their perspective, to stagger it a bit or to kind of spread the hype somewhat. Do you think this is going to continue? Or
I think it will stay the same. I actually don't think anyone ever got hyped for a minor league entering packs on a Sunday in the past. I think it's better just bring in a whole bunch of new players, and then everything you pack is going to be new. It's going to be something you don't already have in your club. If you get a blue on the Friday night, it's something new. I think also for the way that the rewards work, I think they have to set it on the Friday, because if they start staggering it, I think it could mess up some of the team of the season picks where, or not picks, some of the packs that aren't specific to the main league that week.
I thought, did they manage it last year though? I mean, I agree.
They did. They had it in line with squad battles rewards. But I think because we're getting rewards in rivals now as well, I imagine this will just be the same. And I actually think it works way better like this. And especially with how many levers they have to pull to introduce new content into the game, I don't think it's a necessity to space it out.
Yeah, and talking about those levers, actually, just to wrap up, we should talk about the evolution. Actually, Japes, have you done any evolutions recently? Are there any Evos on the mind for you at the moment?
Well, I did the live one. I'm debating with the
Moment of Truth.
No, the Team of the Season Protector Plus. I have that 𝘬𝘃𝗲𝗿 card that I could toss in there. And the problem is, like, I still don't think that he's going to be, like, I don't think he quite gets to elite. I'll tell you what he kind of ends up as. So with his upgrade, he still ends up with like 86 pace. He'll have block plus, jockey plus, ping pass plus to go with base, long pass, intercept, trickster, tiki-taka, and slide tackle. He does have 91 reactions and 94 composure, which is nice. And like getting him up there with the shadow, like he's starting to get a lead. But I'm like, is there going to be another like more center back focused one that might give out the anticipate? You know what I mean? Like I love block plus. I've got it on him. Give me an intercept plus or a anticipate plus. Like that would be beefy.
Yeah. If you're going to go into this Team of the Season Plus Protector,
if I'm going to go in there, like he's already got base jockey, so he's and he's like pretty agile, I'd say, to begin with. So I don't necessarily feel the need to really go extra hard on that.
Yeah, it's just that thing of if defensive players don't have either bruiser or anticipate and intercept, just base versions, I wouldn't be considering them for this evolution, to be honest. And that's something worth thinking about when deciding on players to go into this. And although it doesn't give those, it does give Jockey Plus, which is very good. And Ping Pass is very useful for playing out from the back. It's 100k, which, is kind of expensive, but actually it's got that plus chemistry at the end. Josh, I think it's a pretty good Evo. There's a lot of good options, actually.
It's tough, right? So when I saw the TOTS Plus Protector, I kind of started going through the players, and there are a lot of players where you go, oh, that looks a good card. But there are also a lot of players where I go, yeah, it would have been a good card if we didn't have access to all these incredibly cheap Team of the Seasons now. Yeah, and then you've got to pay 100k on top. But I do think some of the better cards within it are still that kind of elite level. 𝘵𝘱 through Team of the Season Plus Protector, his 87 rated inform. There's, it's a tight match between that and his TOTS live card. Now, obviously, the live card can get upgraded, but to save you the 500k, that would be the price difference between the two. It's pretty solid. I really enjoyed the Premier League TOTS Evo that we got, where it was Premier League specific. I think part of the issue with that Evo, it was an 84 rated evolution that could go to 93 rated. But in terms of base cards, there's only 2 cards available, which would have been the 𝘵𝘶𝗍 and the Martinelli. Now, we could argue that is actually good for people that have been focusing on Evo squads from the Premier League, and they might have that 84 they've forgotten about, and suddenly it turns into an insane card. I saw some wild cards come off the back of it.
Did anybody Evo Martinelli? Side note, I've been debating whether or not I want to do that.
I have. He's very good. He's definitely a better card than the 10,000 coins you'd pay to get his card. If you've got it free in your club, it's an outrageous card to have. And even if you don't end up getting along with him, you've got a 93 rated bit of fodder to go and complete an SBC with. Like it's a bit of a no-brainer.
What are the requirements to complete that? Like how beefy is it?
I think in total it's 11 games. So you need to win.
Oh, that's not bad.
Win 4, play 3. Sorry, win 4, win 3, and then play 4 are the like requirements of each of the levels. You do need to score 5 goals in the final level, but by that point, they're good enough that you could probably make them do that anyway. They've already got most of, or a lot of their stat boosts and are 93 rated. So, Martinelli's really good, really good for me, but I have a lot of good attackers. It's kind of why I've avoided that Alvarez SBC, just because I think he'll get lost in the maelstrom of ridiculous attackers that we're getting.
Someone's going to have to hold me back from putting that Quick Step plus 𝘵𝘐𝗍𝘓 through the Team of the Season plus protector after using or not being pleased enough with St. with his Quick Step plus. I'm now like, actually, if I put 𝘵𝘐𝗍𝘓 through, he'll have Anticipate, which was obviously missing from that St. So my plans to cook up the fastest, most effective centre back in the game is
Chef Ben. He's back.
Yeah, he's back cooking some fast centre backs, and you'll have to find out on the next episode. Well, the next content episode, I guess, because we're about to go and do the supporter gameplay podcast in just a second. And actually, if you'd like to catch that and you're not yet a supporter, then do sign up. There's a free trial. Just search Support FUT Weekly, and then if you fancy joining longer term, it's just £3 a month for double the podcast content. For now, though, let's say our goodbyes, and that starts with Japes. It's been good to have you back on a content pod.
Appreciate it. I'm hoping this is the good luck I need to get my picks from Weekend League over the hurdle of being absolute hot garbage. Yeah. So, hopefully I can report back with good news.
Yeah, hopefully. And Josh as well, thank you very much for joining us. Always good to get your insights.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to do my one last tip, which is just have a look at evolutions and whether you want to complete the last level or not, especially if it's going to lock you out from a playstyle plus perspective, because the attacking mid, defensive mid, fullback swap evolutions, that final level only really gives playstyles and small numbers of stats. So sometimes good just to hold them there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And a reminder to all you listeners tuning in that you can subscribe via the various different podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you're catching this on YouTube, do drop a comment, leave a like. It definitely helps us out, and you can subscribe there too. Thank you very much to all those supporters supporting the pod, keeping it going, including those icon patrons: Dave B, Hugh J, Darren W, Alistair M, Dom P, Rob P, Jeff B, Damon H, Tom B, Adam G, Neil P, Alex M, Jake S, Dan W, Roger D, Lee A, Andrew C, Nishant, Waterman, Dylan H, Adam R, Rob L, Brendan W, Michael K, David G, Jimmy K, Cherry Drank, John D, Michael B, Aditya S, and Joshua K. Plus a special thanks to Luke M, Dave B, Hugh J, Tom M, Darren W, and Pato Foot for advice and production assistance. Before I leave you, just one more thing to add though. Ultimate Team is a bit like life really. It has its many ups and downs. If you're having a few more downs than ups in real life in these more difficult times, then please don't feel that you're alone or need to struggle on without taking action. If you go to thecalmzone.net, there's loads of resources, advice, support, or even just a friendly chat for anyone who needs it. If it sounds like it could help you, then head over to thecalmzone.net. And for now, have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next podcast.